Hey, welcome to the channel Collapsology and Beyond. My name is George and here I post content about the possible collapse of human civilization and existential risks. Now, today I'm gonna talk about Donald Trump. Since he's in the office for the second time and new developments are emerging, I was thinking that maybe it's time to discuss his term from the perspective of civilizational collapse and existential risks, which are preeminent with him. Now, the presence of Donald Trump as a leader of the United States is a symptom of a broader disease present in the United States and all around the world. This includes rising inequality, democratic decline, post-truth populism, and the crisis of distrust. In a sane world, Donald Trump would be on the fringes of the society, an eccentric character, or maybe even in prison. But sick societies tend to elect sick leaders. Unfortunately, these kind of leaders don't resolve or heal the underlying issues because they lack the knowledge of the wisdom to do so. However, they do yield power, and over time they end up exacerbating the very problems that need solutions. But people are desperate, irrational, and traditional politicians seem to offer no answer. So they look for simple solution. If possible, a silver bullet. But of course, there is no silver bullet. Now, I'm gonna talk now about Donald Trump as a global risk factor. Trump, due to his power and personality, represents a global catastrophic risk. He exacerbates existing existential threats and increases the possibility of global civilizational collapse. Can he push the world toward collapse? It is not impossible. The main risks include here climate change, pandemic, democratic decline, civil unrest or even civil war in the United States, nuclear war, and inequality. Now let's talk a bit about climate change, which is a long-term existential risk, but it is also an ongoing stressor that is intensifying every day. It is like a constant drop of water that slowly turns into a tsunami. Trump has once again withdrawn from the Paris Climate Accord, signaling a step backward in global cooperation to reduce greenhouse gas emissions, potentially worsening climate change. Not only that, but he prioritizes coal, oil and gas over renewable energy, to which he is openly hostile. His choices will aggravate and accelerate climate change, making the climate warmer and more unstable. Other world leaders will follow suit. Some will emulate him, others will try not to provoke him. His presence is working like a multiplier effect, not just in this area, but across multiple domains. Another issue is he's once again a threat to withdraw from the World Health Organization, which undermines trust in multinational institutions and could have severe implications in event of another pandemic. World Health Organization is not perfect, but if you disagree with this policy, the solution is to improve it, not to abandon it. Trump's handling of the COVID-19 pandemic revealed significant gaps in preparedness, understanding, and response. His appointment now of Robert F. Kennedy Jr. as conspiracy theorist and anti-vaxxer as a Secretary of Health and Human Services is particularly concerning, especially with the potential bird flu pandemic looming. Meanwhile, Kennedy is offering financial incentives to the workers who research diseases, inspect food, and administer Medicare and Medicaid in order to leave their post. Trump's decision in this area will also have a multiplier effect, as other leaders will take note and follow his example. Now, the second topic is the rise of tech oligarchy. As you might have seen at Trump inauguration, the presence of the tech super-rich sitting in front of the future government member symbolized the rise of technological oligarchy. These billionaires already hold immense economic power, and they appear to be using Trump to future enhance their influence over global affairs. Mark Zuckerberg, for example, has expressed frustration with the European Union's regulation and removed the fact-checking mechanism from Facebook. Not that they were particularly effective before. Meanwhile, he paid Donald Trump $1 million for his inauguration and later an additional $25 million to settle a lawsuit with him. Trump increasingly resembles a Trojan horse used by the oligarchs to expand their wealth and control. The super-rich dream of accelerationism, a philosophical movement where democracy is dead and whatever remains of the nation-states is ruled like a corporation. In this vision, they would be free to accumulate wealth without regulation, while the population is controlled through social media, algorithms, artificial intelligence, and the new politician. Now, the Silicon Valley's motto is move fast and break things. While this approach may work for software and even SpaceX starships, it does not apply to the human civilization. If a civilization collapses, we cannot just simply reboot it. The next topic is government dismantling and institutional weakening, which he's doing with the help of Elon Musk. Trump is aggressively dismantling elements of the government, behaving like a bull in the china shop. Now, government restructuring should involve evaluating each department and employee carefully to avoid losing valuable personnel. Instead, this looks more like a corporate-style hostile takeover. At a time where crises are looming, the US government needs strong institutions. Weakening them will leave the US vulnerable and create a power vacuum that other entities will fill. The next topic is nuclear risk. While it is not impossible for Trump to start a nuclear war due to his instability and unpredictability, there is also a significant risk of nuclear proliferation. By undermining alliances with European Union, Canada, Japan, South Korea, Australia, New Zealand, he forces these nations to consider nuclear weapons as their ultimate security guarantee. Now, if Pax Americana collapses, nuclear deterrence becomes the only safeguard, and the Ukraine war has already demonstrated this. More nuclear nations meet a higher probability of a nuclear war. Another looming risk is artificial intelligence gaining access to nuclear weapon. What could possibly go wrong with this scenario? Another topic is domestic unrest and global repercussions. Trump's re-election will not solve the issues facing Americans. It will exacerbate them, increasing existential risks for everyone. The longer he remains in power, the more dangerous he becomes. If his policy do not change, a segment of American people will eventually take action against him. This could lead to civil unrest, possibly even a civil war with global consequences. The big picture is that while Trump actions could accelerate existential risk, these risks are also shaped by complex global systems. The extent to which a single leader can influence the system depends on the broader societal, economic, and geopolitical dynamics. But it's important to remember, Donald Trump is the most important leader of the world, and he's also just a tip of the spear. He does not wield power alone. Look at his supporters, his inner circles, and those in position of power who choose to do nothing. Consider the far-right movement, the 2025 project, the Russian agents around him. Many forces are at play, both behind the scenes and in plain sight. Even if Trump disappears, these people will remain. And remember, falling empires generally had reckless leaders. Now, I will leave you with the words of President Abraham Lincoln from his address to Lyceum in Springfield, Illinois in 1838.
At what point then is the approach of danger to be expected? I answer, if it ever reaches us, it must spring up amongst us. It cannot come from abroad. If destruction be our lot, we must ourselves be its author and finisher. As a nation of freemen, we must live through all time or die by suicide.